one thing too is that Stephen has been a blessing, a very big blessing in my life. But from day one that I met Stephen, he has been a great blessing. Stephen didn't come to my life for money or to get something from me like the other people did.
Meet Steve and Esther, who have just tied the knot. I had the opportunity to chat with them about their perspectives on marriage both before and after their wedding. We also discussed the African tradition of having two ceremonies, traditional and white weddings, for a single marriage. Additionally, we explored their wedding experience and whether they encountered any challenges during the celebration.
It's our marriage issue. That wedding is not marriage.
No.
I don't know whether you guys will still...
We agree with that.
Yeah, we agree with that.
Okay.
100%.
We 100% agree with that.
We just wanted the fun out of it.
Yes. Wedding is having everybody celebrate the transition of marriage with you.
Okay.
It's a celebration. Wedding is no marriage. The blessing is when you're put together to enjoy marriage, which is everything after wedding, after the ceremony, and after the reception.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome
Thank
to
you
the
so
podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, and then welcome to marriage.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
People used to say that marriage is boring than dating, having a relationship outside marriage. That is what people say. I don't know whether it's true or not.
No, it's
But-
not true.
You are married.
Right. Yeah.
How long?
It's been about 4 months now.
4 months.
Yeah.
4 months. But
About 5 months now.
You've been dating for
Well, actually, we've known each other for about 3 years.
3 years.
No.
No, about 2 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, we dated less than a year. So we knew each other for like a year, and then we dated for another a couple months, and then I proposed to her, and then we got married.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was in church, right?
The marriage?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
No, you got to know one another in the church.
Absolutely, yeah. It was an album launch.
Yeah.
It was an album launch. She sold me a shirt. We have how we met on our channel. She sold me a shirt, and that was where I was like, "Wait, does this girl go to church here?"
Yeah.
And ironically, she was also asking if I attended church there because that was the first time you saw me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time I saw her. I was like, "Oh man, if she's selling the shirt, I'm buying 2 of those shirts." So yeah, that's how we met, and the rest is history.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, looking at your relationship, you were dating before you got married. I assume that there will be differences between the marriage or during marriage and then you're dating. What are the differences?
Oh man, you want to take this? Or you want to start?
No, you go.
Okay. So yeah, we moved from being strangers to a friendship to taking things seriously, and then marriage now.
Okay.
The key differences are when you are dating, even though you're with the other person, you really are not all the way committed to them.
Okay.
With our stage, it was more like knowing each other. She lived somewhere, I lived somewhere else. It was just times where I'll come back from work is when I'll see her, and then we talk, and then I go back. So it was more like getting to know each other and stuff like that. There wasn't any real commitment at all. There wasn't responsibility. Yeah, I'll call to ask her how she's doing. I always wanted to see her. Yeah.
Okay.
But marriage is way different in the sense that we've committed to each other.
Yeah.
We vowed before God to be responsible to each other, right? So in that sense, the difference is she's my responsibility and I'm her responsibility.
Absolutely.
Whatever happens to her, I'm accountable for. It's like Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Even though Eve ate the fruit and gave it to Adam, Adam had to account for both of them. Eve had to account for both of them.
Yeah.
There wasn't some like, oh, she gave me the fruit. So she has her punishment. I have no. It was like, okay, you collectively disobeyed me.
Absolutely.
Yes. So in this case, even though she's an individual, I'm an individual. After vowing to God, we become an entity. We become one.
One.
Yes. So if there's anything that happens to her, everyone that knows we're married has every right to ask me, like, why is this happening to her? What is happening to her? Everybody that knows us can ask her, why is this happening to your husband? What is going on? So that is
don't ask me.
You better take care of me before they ask you. Yeah, so that's a key difference, the responsibility and the fact that you have a ring to look at, and that tells a story.
Right.
That is a sign that you don't have the luxury to indulge in things that others will indulge in. You have the responsibility to man up. You have the responsibility to put a family together and ensure that it is what God wants, right? In a godly way. She also has that responsibility to take care of the house, because the man, I become the head of our household, but she becomes the body. She becomes the neck that turns the head. So she has an equal responsibility as I do to make sure we put together a foundation. And as to whether the foundation crumbles or holds is how serious we put the seriousness we put into the foundation, and how we do that like collectively as an entity. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, that is for me. Would like to add anything, Vic?
Okay, with me, I didn't see much difference, because I think the only difference that I saw or that happened was we didn't have any sexual activities before we got married. So it was after the marriage, that's when we had our first sex and all of that. So I'll say those are
the key difference.
the difference.
Yeah.
Because before the marriage, mostly I cook on Sundays after church, or sometimes in the evening. So Stephen will come to my place, and then whilst I'm cooking, he'll help me with any other choices. That's when we have our intimate conversations, like things we want to do in our marriages and all of that. And then Stephen will iron my uniform for me. We started having I think a year to the wedding, we started having 1 hour midnight prayers together. So Stephen will come to my place, then we pray 1 hour, or sometimes we just call on our phones, and then we have this 1 hour prayer. So I think those are the things that I would say, to me, it's kind of the only difference after marriage. Yeah. Aside that, everything seems cool, because he was overprotective over me.
Yeah, I was like, I was the unofficial husband.
For me, because I also dated like that, and then I got married. But one thing I've realized is that sometimes when you date for a long time, you even forget whether you are dating or you are married.
Right.
I don't know whether you've noticed that.
We did. We really encountered that. The reason I encountered that was when we started talking about marriage. I'm like, oh, we're not married already? Because the thing is, once especially when you love somebody and you live with them and you're so committed to them that the friendship or the relationship feels like marriage. And that is when the thought of getting married becomes like a wake-up call, like, oh, we're not married. Yeah, we got to get married, because like you're protect, like she said, I was overly protective of her. I was always wanting to help her. She was also always wanting to help me. She had my best interests at heart. And it was like an unofficial marriage, Yeah, so just as she said, sometimes you forget, like, oh, we're not married. Oh, yeah. Because you're so in tune with each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's how it felt with us too.
Okay.
And then with Stephen, I had so many compliments, or let's say complaints, from his coworkers. They came to my apartment. They come to park at the parking lot just to see me. Like, they want to know the lady that Stephen is dating because they said they saw a lot of difference in him.
Yeah,
he used to be a mean person,
very,
but after he met me, he became a lovely guy.
That's the thing, you know, when you're with somebody you love, you don't actually know when there are changes. So I was very, I didn't laugh. I used to listen heavily to like sad music, like not sad music, but music that I know inspiring really. And I just go work, put my head down and come back home. So I didn't know everybody had noticed that. And immediately I met her, like, I think after a week, people were like, wait, do you have a girlfriend now? Because you tend to smile a lot. Like, you're happy, you're always checking your phone. I'm like, really? I do that? They're like, yeah. And unknowingly, the thing she's talking about was a coworker of mine that came to park at our apartment just to see who I have now. Yeah, it was like, no, he's always not smiling. He's not like this. So yeah, it was funny. And
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, we were not even dating at that time. We were just friends. Yeah,
we were friends. Yeah. I had been single for a long time. When I came here, I didn't want to date. I didn't want to be friends with anybody. Like I didn't want to come here I'm sorry to everybody that loved Columbus. I didn't want to come here in the first place because I loved Iowa. They treated me like family.
Okay.
And so when I came here, it was like, oh man, I have to figure this out by myself. It's fine. I'll just put my head down. So I was really focused. It was more focused than just being me. I was just very focused. So when I met her, it taught me a different perspective. I'm like, oh wow, okay.
I did a good job.
You did a good job, yeah.
I mean, marriage is. I have been married for, I don't know, close to 10 years.
Oh wow!
Yes,
man,
10 years.
You're a leader now.
But we've been in a relationship since 2004. So 2004, that is when I met my wife.
20 years.
What? So the relationship has been ups and downs because it's been a very long time. I was in college. I've come out of college, but she's from high school. Her parents doesn't want anybody to go out. African. Those kind of those things. So, and that's my question. Did you have something like that, or because you were in America, you had the freedom to date anybody? Because we did not have that.
Yes.
And most Africans who start a relationship in Ghana, especially when it is quite younger. You don't have the luxury or the freedom to date the person. We are hiding wait for the person to come. Did you have somebody actually checking you that don't?
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. So one thing is that, in Africa, in Ghana, we're more conservative.
Yeah.
We are more religious, I'd say. Most third world countries that are conservative tend to be very religious. And pride and to be proud, to have people be proud of you is very, very vital in such environments, right? So in Ghana, if your parent gets the notice that you are with a guy somewhere, it becomes something like a family name being tarnished rather than an individual getting tarnished. It's because of the conservatism of the country and how it is religious. Most first world countries tend to be the polar opposite. So most first world countries tend to be liberal and really do not, like, as compared to our nations, like, care as much. They do care in certain areas that are conservative, but generally speaking, they really don't care as much. So you find kids here rolling with kids, and then when you really talk to them about, hey, what are you doing? What is it? They tell you they have rights. They tell you they have right. They can call CPS or whatever. All these things are put in place to make kids feel like they have rights, right? But in Ghana, we would realize that even in high school, if you have somebody you had a crush on, you couldn't tell your family.
Absolutely.
You couldn't tell your parents. It has to be behind the alley or something like that. Yeah, so the thing that I think the key difference between yours and ours is that you were in that environment where it was really conservative, where the family name meant a lot, even to sometimes holding hands with somebody who has a bad reputation can land you in trouble when your parents hear that. Why are you working with this guy? Even if it's as innocent as just being friends with them, right? So in America, we were fortunate to be in America where it's more laxed, and even though we didn't have a lot of people on our shoulder, we still had our parents reminding us where we're from, reminding us who to go to, keep constantly telling us to watch our steps. Because the scary thing about America is, as liberal as it is easy to slip into trouble. It is easy to be with the wrong person, because you nobody can beat you, nobody can whoop your butt when you're with the wrong person, or when they don't want to see you like that. So it's more like negotiation and advice and stuff like that. So we had it easier than you would have had it. But at the same time, we had people in our ears reminding us where we're from, reminding us of our family's reputation on the line. And as immigrants, we would realize that even though we come here into a conservative society, we still hold our family's name with value. We still do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is one thing that's different from the society here. She still had the Basanti name, like, to hold up to. I still had the Sasu Sapo name to hold up to. If I had been, excuse me to say, like a druggie or a drug addict or something like that, people calling my household would be like, look at what your son is doing and look at the disgrace they're bringing to you. Look at what your daughter is doing and look at what the disgrace they're bringing to you. So yeah, we had different experiences, but at the same time, it was quite similar because we didn't want to tarnish our family's names and reputations. Yeah.
Wow. How about you? What do you think about it?
Mine was the same thing as yours. Like my whole, let me say that almost the entire family is here. My dad and my siblings, my parents and my siblings are here. So, and one thing that have helped me so much is that I live the same way that I was living in Ghana. No matter anybody that I come into contact with, like I become friends with, if you're a guy, whether I'm dating you or we are just friends, I have to let you come to my house for my mom.
Absolutely.
Or my dad to see, because I was here with my mom first before my father and my siblings came to join. So luckily for me, at the time that I met Steven, that was when my family, all of them have come here. So it was like the whole family was around. And then I made Steven come around. Like, I mean, sometimes if I need something and I can't buy it, I'll be like, oh, I'll test him. Can you get me, let's say, wings or something? And then he'll bring it to the house. So I think it was my sister that first knew that
there was something going.
Yeah, and at that time too, we're just friends, but she was able to know that Steven is a good person. But whenever she tells me, I just brush it off. And then my dad also said something like, oh, I think among the guys that came here, this guy looks different. He looks mature mentally. He's very respectful and all of that. But I told my dad that, oh, we are just friends. And then my mom, after my mom was my younger brother, he also was like, this guy is different. There's something about this guy. He's very responsible. He's this and that. My mind wasn't there. My mind wasn't there at all. And then later on, I called one of my spiritual father in Ghana. I told him about Steven, and then he told me just to pray about it, like fast and pray about it. So that was when I started like taking him serious. I said, oh, let me just pray. Because that time I was actually looking at somebody else. It wasn't even a Steven. It was somebody else. But the funny thing is, the funny thing was, immediately I mentioned that person's name, even not to my family, because my family already knew that. They were like, oh, this guy he doesn't fit you. He's not going to help you in future. And then there was a time I met one of our fathers came here to the US, and we went for a conference in Oklahoma. So whilst we were talking, I was like, oh, are you dating now? I think you're of age. By now, you should get married. I was like, oh, I've seen that I have 2 guys in my life right now. Immediately I said, I have 2 guys in my life right now. He described Steven to me. He said, go for this one. He doesn't even know Steven. He said, go for this one. He's the one going to help you. I was like, what's happening? What's happening? And then I kept it to myself. When I came back, I didn't tell him because my mind was on the other person. So I didn't tell him. So I was like, God, that was when I took my prayer life very seriously. I was like, God, this thing is strange. I think I like or I want this guy. But it looks like all the people around me haven't said anything about the guy that my mind was, haven't said anything about Steven. But it looks like everybody's description is going towards Steven.
Absolutely.
So I started doing dry fasting and then reading my Bible, praying, having my morning devotions and all of that. Then one day whilst I was praying, I just heard from God. So that was when I knew it was Steven. And then I went for Steven.
God said Steven.
And I even had, after that incident, I think close to 3 months to our wedding also, I had a dream. And the dream was specifically God was telling me, talking to me about Steven. I even told him about the dream, if you can remember. I was like, I just thank God. My heart is at peace. I know that I'm not marrying wrong. I'm married the right person.
Absolutely.
And one thing too is that Steven has been a blessing, a very big blessing in my life. From day one that I met Steven, it has been a great blessing. Steven didn't come to my life for money or to get something from me like the other people did. He rather added a lot into my life. Yes. And then Steven made me I never knew I had so many qualities in me. Never knew I had all these qualities. Most especially, let's talk about the YouTube. Me doing YouTube. Even when I go to work, they are like, wait, is that really you on YouTube? I that's the same question I ask myself every day. I cannot talk. I don't make friends and all of that. But ever since I met Steven, it's like he has brought a lot of values into my life. He makes me know that no matter what happens, babe, you can do this. I know you. You can do it. Give it a try. I'm like, babe, I'm not beautiful, babe. Look at them. They're beautiful than me, babe. They speak better English than me. I look so down on myself. Steven will encourage you. He will lift my spirits up. Steven, God bless you so much. This guy is, oh my God. I don't know what to say. Steven is just a blessing.
You said something, and that is about sex. You specifically said that when you were dating, you didn't have sex or something like that. But it is a very big problem for relationships.
For our generation right
and
now.
our generation.
You're right.
A guy will say, we can be in a relationship but no sex. And a man will say that, no, if there's no sex, then I cannot wait for this relationship. So, and because I've seen it, it puts pressure on young women.
Right.
You see, because when you come from a Christian background, you are taught to hold yourself until you get married and all that. But the guy says, okay, no, you love the guy.
Yeah.
So losing this guy will force you to maybe go ahead and have sex with her or something like that. And a lot of things happen. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. You specifically did not do that.
No.
Is it that you're doing it because you are a Christian and Christianity demands that you don't have to have sex before the marriage, or you feel, no, if I have sex with somebody before marriage, it devalues me?
Sex actually is spiritual. It's kind of it's a covenant. Once you have sex with somebody, you spiritually, it's like, I don't know how to put this, but
A bond.
it's kind of like a
bond.
Right.
Yeah. So if spiritually, if there are demons in that person's family, let's say, okay, so let me go straight to the point. I have a friend that we were talking about this issue. So there's her story that she told me. She was like, she used to have a lot of money. Like she was a spiritual Christian, and then she never experienced financial problems, difficulties, and all of that until she dated a guy. So when she dated this guy and they had sex, afterwards she realized that she's been having financial problems for a long time.
Okay.
So she was talking to a pastor. She has a pastor friend in another country. So she was talking to the pastor, and then the pastor asked her, "Oh, I hope you're still keeping your virginity." But she went straight to the point and then told him about it, that she broke her virginity with this guy she met and all of that. And so they talked deep to a point. That was when she realized that the problem was after she had sex with this guy. And then when they were what drew her attention to it was when they were dating, when she was dating with the guy, she was the one sponsoring the guy. The guy was in school, in college, and she was the one like helping him. Although she was just working in warehouse and other stuff, she had a lot of money. She was taking care of her family, herself, and other siblings back home. But immediately after she had sex with this guy, the things that she had favor, a lot of things that she used to have favor,
she lost it.
She lost everything. Like when she goes to a new place, everybody will love her. Like if there's a position, although she was young, these white, like her bosses will come to her, "Oh, we think you can do this, we think you can do that."
Yeah.
But she lost all those things. Now, all those privileges, easy things that she used to get, everything stopped.
It became very difficult.
It became difficult for her. And then her finances became so hard for her that to the extent that she doesn't even buy anything. She doesn't buy new clothes, nothing. But it's like when she checked her bank account, she doesn't have money in it. So when she started talking to this pastor, and then she just was open. Like she was open to me. She was open, and then she told the pastor everything, and the pastor told her that was why we advise you all not to have sex before marriage. But it looks like now the youth, they don't want to listen to what the elderly people tell them. So he prayed with her and like delivered her, like the deliverance on her and all of that. So she was sharing with me. So sex itself is a big deal. It's something very spiritual, but it's like now the youth doesn't want to believe it. Everybody wants to taste it. Or I remember my spiritual dad, before we got married, he was telling me, the way you guys see sex, it's not the way how it happens when you get married. You can be with your wife for even a month and you've not even touched her. I was laughing because I thought, oh, maybe he's not.
If you told me that, I would have said no.
He's old fashioned.
I'm just waiting till I put a ring on it. We're gonna do it every day.
Yeah, but that wasn't true. Even when we got married on our honeymoon, we couldn't have sex. Yeah, because we were so tired.
I was tired.
Yeah,
we were so tired, so we couldn't even have our first sex on our honeymoon. So that tells you sometimes we can go like a whole week without having sex.
Absolutely.
We are intimate, like we still do married stuff, but we don't have sex in a week. So it just dawned on me. I was telling him, I was laughing. I was like, oh, I didn't believe him. Now I understand. We don't even have kids yet, but now I understand him.
Exactly.
So sex doesn't define love.
Okay.
Like as the world is trying to make it seems like right now, sex doesn't define love at all. And we had things were tough when we were planning our marriages, but we had our way through it very easily. And then sometimes when we sit down and talk about it, we realize that we were faithful to God in so many ways. We committed our marriage to God. Like I said, we used to pray 1 hour every day. And then we opened a prayer altar with his family and my family. So we joined together as two families. We pray every morning, 6 to 8, like 2 hours. I said
from
family.
6:30 to 8:30, 6 to 8.
And one thing that I thank God so much for is marrying into a family that fears the Lord, and then also they accept me to be part of them. I dated twice before my husband, and with the second guy, his family seems to be like that church guys too. But there was something that I noticed. It's like the family didn't accept me into it. Yeah, and it was something that bothered me a lot. Like I cry over it. I'm like, why? It's like they don't care. They don't check up on you. You have to. It's like it felt like I'm forcing myself to
Into the
marry.
family,
He's getting married to me, but it was like it felt like I was the one forcing myself to even marry the guy. It's like you were privileged. You've gotten that privilege to marry him. It doesn't even make sense. And then when this relationship broke, it really hurt me so much. Like I went through depression and all of that. But after meeting Stephen, that was when I was like, God, thank you. I didn't know you had better plans for me.
Yes.
Stephen's parents, Stephen's family. Oh my God.
Now I want us to talk about the wedding.
Okay.
Ooh, let's go. Yeah.
Personally, I like very simple wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very simple wedding. I mean, 3 people, 4 people.
And that's it.
That's it.
Ours was simple. That was the simplest wedding.
Well, so the kind of wedding that I want, yours was so big.
No, ours was simple.
Our wedding was simple.
It was simple. It was the most simplest wedding.
Because I was there.
Yeah, he was there.
Okay, so
He was
what
there.
I actually want
Ready to
the
be.
wedding that we had was so small that I felt yours is so big. Or what do you think? Is it big or was it
Ours was simple.
You see, if we're to put a paper what she wanted, oh my goodness, we would have had to rent like 3-4 places, put them together. She wanted something like, well, not very big, but very nice.
Yes.
She's into very, very nice modern stuff.
Yes.
Because she likes everything every component of the wedding to tell a story. That's her. So I didn't know much about weddings, to be honest. So when we decided to get married, and she's like, all right, babe, I'm going to send you a bunch of videos. Watch them. What are you talking about? Then she sends me these reels on Instagram. I'm like, oh my goodness. Oh, this. Wait. So you want all these? No. I just want to pay attention to certain details. Watch this candelabra. Watch this. What is that? Like, oh my gosh. Please plan your stuff. But the whole process was so enjoyable. It opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. I had your mindset. I could get married in a drive-thru and I'll be fine. But
Wait, who?
no.
Mostly men don't. Well, I mean, I know there are men that who really love
lavish weddings.
Yes, there are men, but I mean, 90% of men don't really care so much.
Exactly.
Let's go to
I think
but for the women, we never had any lavish wedding. But my wife actually kept telling me that we will have to do another wedding again.
Yeah, you have to, because you already
goodness.
have a decade. You're married for a decade now. Yeah, so you have to do it. Don't worry, we'll plan it for you.
I kept telling her that when I'm doing well, if I'm doing well and I have a lot of money, then I'll
you can do everything
Yeah,
you want for
you
it.
can.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
We're here to plan it for you. And we can do the decor for you as well. Do you know we did our decor? Everything about our wedding, we did it for ourselves.
Yeah,
okay.
Everything was
Everything
us.
was done
Okay.
for ourselves. The
Yeah.
decor,
Everything was
I
everything.
mean, I don't.
You don't plan on doing it?
You have to. I support it.
Men really don't think about the wedding as in like how lavish it's going to be. We don't worry about the during. We worry about how do we get there, and the end of it, that's when we sign the papers and we're married. And then I have to take my wife away. I think women pay attention to the details and how the perception of it all. So it's like, if this wedding looks this way, I'm not going to look good. I come from this family. I want to put my family on a pedestal by having a wedding like this and stuff like that. You know, that I think that makes them fulfilled. They care about the signing and everything, but it's
even
like
the food and everything.
Oh man. Oh, the flowers, the this, the that. I was like, babe. Sometimes we'll be on the phone, like, can I go to bed, please? Like, nah, just watch this last video. Oh man. So it's like what I realized was the woman's glory is in the type of ceremony she has, which is not bad. It is once in a lifetime. They take it very serious. It's once in a lifetime for us too. But we really care about taking our wives away. We really care about the blessing and then taking her away. But she cares, or women care about the whole event, how it's going to make them look, how it's going to honor their parents, their fathers, because at the end of the day, their father is going to hand them over. It's going to be a transition. So they don't want it to just be something by the wayside or something like that. Not saying that smaller weddings are not at all. But I believe if every woman had their way, they would have something that would make them feel like, oh, my dad is going to be proud of this. Oh, my mom's going to be proud of this. So that's why women are really particular about even the chairs. She was telling me, I like this type of chair. Like big chairs too, like tables. I like this type of decor. Oh man,
this is something I have said before, and personally, I've said a lot. I've written so many things on Facebook. I've deleted them and all that, and some of them I keep reviewing them. Some of them, I think that I said it this time ago. And now I'm here. Maybe what I said or what I thought is not. I didn't think about it.
You have a different perspective now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But one thing that I kept reviewing, that I always think that I'm alright, I think that I'm right, is our marriage issue. That wedding is not marriage.
No.
I don't know whether you guys will still.
We agree with that.
We agree with that 100%.
We 100% agree with that.
We just wanted the fun out of it.
Yes. Wedding is having everybody celebrate the transition of marriage with you.
Okay.
It's a celebration. Wedding is no marriage. The blessing is when you're put together to enjoy marriage, which is everything after wedding, after the ceremony, and after the reception. So that is all like a party. That is your family meeting my family, being like, oh, they're getting married. Let's celebrate with them. Let's witness with them. So that is marriage. That is weddings. That is not marriage. Also, it's because like that's why we see a lot of people having a lot of lavish weddings. They go for loans and everything, and then it tends to break the marriage because the thing is they don't particularly pay attention to living together. They pay attention to the celebration because that has become competition or a competitive thing where like, oh, this person had a big wedding and had a cake flying from the sky, or this person had a big wedding and had marching bands all up in the wedding. So I have to do something more than that.
Absolutely.
Because like, in Columbus here, I hear, oh, this person had people do this, so I have to do that and do this and do that. And then the essence of the two people coming together, which is marriage, is lost. Everything is focused on the celebration, which is the wedding, which is how you're going to tell people, oh, look at what I can do. Look at what I can do. And now when that goes by and the two sit together and reality hits them that what you did is gone. You said something earlier. You like weddings that are smaller, that have like 4 people, that's fine. 5 people, that's fine. 2 families, that's fine. Once it's blessed, everything after that is the marriage, right? So there's like people focus on the wrong things. They tend to focus on, oh, how lavish it's supposed to be. Man, you had your wedding, you had your this kente. I can't have that. I'm like, no, that is not marriage. Yeah, if you have somebody you want to get married to, do whatever you guys feel it's comfortable for you, that the family accepts, and then move on. Whatever is after the celebration is what marriage is. So I used to think that way before we're getting married, when we're doing all the planning and stuff. I used to think, oh, once we had the wedding, then that's marriage, right? We don't have to think, no. When reality hit us, like, no, wedding is going to pass away. It's just a day. Even though it's a day in your lifetime, it's still a day. It's day one of you two being together. Your day one doesn't have to break the 100 years that you could have together, the 70 years, 80 years that you should have together. That should trump the one day, right? That should be more important than that. So I agree with you. Like marriages people tend to focus more on weddings than the two being together, and that's wrong. Yeah.
What do you think about this thing of African marriages? That we do have a traditional marriage or traditional wedding, which we sometimes call as engagement,
yeah.
Which is not engagement. That is marriage.
That is marriage, yes.
But we call it
engagement.
And then we do
White wedding.
the white
wedding. Okay.
So it means that we do
Double.
two marriages,
right,
or weddings
in one
for one marriage. Whilst the white people who we are actually copying,
right,
they just do
their wedding. What they know as wedding.
They don't do any traditional wedding or anything.
Yeah.
But we are compelled to do it. We are compelled to do it. Most people, most of us, we know.
Right.
We know all these things. We know that there's problem, but we are compelled to do it. I know you have done this.
Oh yeah, I did the same thing.
How do you feel about it? And how do you feel about it?
So, you want me to take it? You want to take it? Okay. So throughout time, right? When you look back at decades, even centuries ago and stuff like that, every demographic or every part of the world has ways they have their weddings, right? Now, Africans, like, we had the traditional wedding or the engagement, and which is our marriage, because once you find a woman you want to be with, you delegate people from your household to lead you to the household.
Absolutely.
To perform the knocking ceremony, put it in front of them, they discuss it with your daughter. If they agree with it, you come perform the rites. That's marriage, and that's it.
Yes.
In the Western part of the world, that is when you have this the gown and everything. Throughout time, we've had this blend or the mixture of cultures, right? Once people travel, once people marry outside and stuff like that, cultures tend to mix. And so you'd find people who used to do a simple ceremony as a rite of passage to marriage, tend to pick bits and pieces from here, from there. So let me give you an example, like somebody from Africa marrying somebody from India. The people from India are going to say, well, we want our rights to be acknowledged. The person from Africa would say, okay, we want our rights to also be acknowledged.
Okay.
Yeah, so in that way, you have two different ceremonies going on.
For the same marriage. For
the same marriage, right? And throughout time, we've migrated a lot. People have migrated to other parts of the world. We carry our cultures with us and stuff like that. And that has made there to be a mixture of a lot of cultures, and marriage is also one of them. I was talking to a Nepali guy who's like a friend who invited me to a wedding. And I was like, oh, wow. So you guys just have one wedding? He said, no, our wedding is like a whole week. So yes, there's 1 week. We have it at the woman's house, and they have to go to Philadelphia to the woman's place the second day. And then they will start having his at his parents' place, and then they'll have his place, and then they have the reception at the end of the day. I'm like, wow, that is a whole week of celebration, you know? And I believe wholeheartedly that maybe in the past it wasn't that elaborate. Maybe in the past it was, you do it at a woman's place, you do it at my place, and that's it. But like as time goes on, modernization, the ingrainment of cultures and stuff like that, people have adopted a lot. Like, so we Africans, of course, it's like, oh, we want to do our stuff, but at the same time, well, this white thing with the veil covering, which is in the Bible, by the way. If you read the story of is it Rachel and Leah when they were marrying
Jacob.
I think it's Jacob.
Yeah, I think
Jacob and
yeah.
Rachel. Yes. So that was when you spend the night with them. The next day, you take off the veil and be like, okay, that's your wife, right?
Yeah.
You've already spent the night with them. That's the marriage ceremony. So he served 7 years. He went into the room with this covered woman. You don't know who it is. He thought it was Rachel. Spent the night with her, came back. No, you cheated me. Okay, if you want the younger person, you serve another 7 years. What? Because in our culture, the younger doesn't marry before the older one. Yes. But they didn't tell him that.
Yes.
So he had to serve another 7 years to get Rachel.
Yeah.
They put the veil on them, go there. So it's like that. The veil has become like a symbolism for you not knowing who you're getting married to. You vow in front of the altar and then you unveil your wife, right? So I think we thought of that and was like, oh, okay. So that's a good like element to weddings. So why don't we add that to it? Oh, why don't we add this element to it? Why don't we add this element to it? And, you know, I believe at some point we're like, well, let's add the whole thing to our traditional ceremony and then call this engagement.
What do you think about it?
There is a phrase or statement that if you go to Rome, do what Romans do. So since we're in America, we have to do our traditional and then do theirs as well. So that's why we ended up doing both.
So, but there are people who are not in America.
Right.
They are in Ghana.
But they still do both.
Or they are in Africa, but they still do that.
Oh,
you see. I mean, almost everybody.
Almost everybody does that now. Yeah.
And
For
that
me,
is what, I mean, it's not a problem.
No.
Oh, no.
Though, but sometimes I wonder, why are we, because money, you see,
Cost,
money,
yeah.
Secondly, time.
Right.
Well, in Africa, we have a lot of time though, but
but not when you come to the States, there's no time. Yeah.
we have a lot of time in Africa. I mean, we always want to have something to happen so that we can celebrate.
Yes.
That is Africa for you. So, well, maybe that is why. But sometimes I wonder.
For me, I would say if you have the money, do it. Even if you can do it too much, do it too much. My parents did both, so.
No, the thing is, at some point, somebody in Africa started it, and it became a trend. And like we were getting married, we were like, if they're doing it, man, why not? You know. But just as you said, like, why not go with tradition and then avoid everything? But
for me, I wouldn't have accepted that.
I know.
Because you see, the truth of the matter is that our traditional wedding is very beautiful.
It is.
Extremely.
It absolutely is.
It's very beautiful. That, I mean, most of the times, what I actually see, I like the traditional wedding, and it's more interesting for me than the I don't know. I mean, it may differ for different people, but
no, that's true.
She loves traditional.
Yeah,
she actually put a lot of
the clothes.
Oh,
the clothes, the kente,
the color,
it's amazing.
Yes, the culture, everything that comes. And if you watch our wedding, you realize that my folks from Iowa, who are predominantly white, they had never been to an African wedding before. That was the first time. So they came and were like, oh, wow, we've never seen anything like that. They loved it.
Yes.
They loved it. So it's also an avenue to showcase our culture to the world, to show where we're from, you know. I agree 100% with you. Like, it's unique.
It's unique.
It's unique to our people. It's like when another culture is doing theirs and maybe they have the veil and the piercings and all of that. It's exclusive to their culture. We know that, oh, this is for this people. Ours is the traditional.
Yeah.
Ours is the kente. Ours is the hinema, like whatever we do, like presentation of the dowry and everything. That is exclusively ours.
Ours, yeah.
We can't forego that. And that is why, like, no matter what, even if an African or as a Ghanaian you're marrying outside, that should be a part of the wedding ceremony. That should it's just beautiful. It showcases
It's
okay,
beautiful.
that's a Ghanaian wedding, right? So we put a lot of thought into that, and that also is the reason why we didn't have that and the wedding on the same day, because we wanted to, but then we're like, no, this is very special. This is where I'm presenting the dowry. This is where I'm officially actually asking for her hand in marriage. So we have to have a day for it. We have to celebrate.
You talk about is it Rachel and
Leah.
Jacob?
Yeah, Jacob and
Okay.
Rachel, yeah.
It's in the Bible,
For sure, yeah.
but it's actually not a Christian marriage.
Yeah.
Most of the marriages in the Bible were not Christian marriages. They were all
Traditional marriages. Exclusive.
Even
to-
Jesus Christ went for a wedding,
Yeah.
and the wedding was in the house.
Right. That is true.
I have seen and I felt that the church is taking over the marriages.
That is
I don't know whether I am thinking too much, but I felt the churches are taking over the marriages.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be the family.
family. Yes.
So that, well, if you want to have a white marriage, you can still go to the church and then submit the marriage to God or whatever in a church and all that. But it should not be a compulsory. I have seen this. I've not seen that in America though, but in Ghana, there was a guy that lived in my house. He left the church because of the problems the church presented.
Yes.
So he left the church. You see, I don't. Well, maybe you went through the wedding without any problems or challenges or anything. But I don't know whether you had issues.
Yes, we
with
did.
people or the church or the family or
No, I honestly, family perfect. Family was on board with us. Every step of the way, we made family know. My side of the family and her side of the family. My family communicated with her family, and being that my family is not here, it was mostly like conversations. But then they came to an agreement and everything. Our pushback mostly was by certain people that we thought were going to help. I'm not going to say names or anything, but yeah, there are people that really disappointed us a lot, and people that, man, sometimes you put your best foot forward, you give people the benefit of the doubt, but they still tend to show you their true colors for no reason, right? You mentioned a person that left the church because the church gave him problems. That is a real thing. That is a real thing. Marriages are supposed to be between two families. We bring the church in, or we bring pastors in because we're Christian and would like to have the element of the blessing and the vow that, and have a preacher stand in there, which is nice, which is a good thing. But lately we realized that some churches try to make the marriage about themselves rather than the people that are getting married.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's a problem.
It is bad.
Big one.
It is absolutely bad. There's no two ways about it. Churches have to have the interest of the people marrying at heart. But when that comes to trump our marriage and the plans we have, then that becomes overbearing. It really does become overbearing.
Yeah.
Like,
now you are married now.
yeah.
You have to infuse somebody into your plan. You cannot plan for yourself anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You have to plan with somebody.
If they don't
So
know
how is it to sleep and you wake up at dawn and now you are not thinking about yourself? Sometimes you are not even thinking about you.
No, not at all.
But you are thinking about her.
Yes, it is. I use the word shocking because I never envisioned that when I was single. Now, when I was married, I remember I realized I think about her even more than myself. The reason being that you are the man, and of course the traditional man is to provide, protect, defend.
Absolutely. Even the white people.
Yes.
Even the white people. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. So it's like she accepted to be my wife, so I have to make sure she's right, right? With what you did with your wife was phenomenal. And one thing about marriage is, no matter the sacrifice that you put in, it doesn't hurt you. No matter the sacrifice you put in, you feel like it is your responsibility.
Absolutely.
So what people would see as huge, like, whoa, like you do this, you're driving this, you feel as though you're doing it for the family.
Right.
Yeah.
You're doing it for your wife. Her well-being is your well-being.
Yeah.
If your wife goes to class and have a bad day, it's like you've had a bad day. Like, why? What's going on? What do we have to do? And you feel as though it is you going through that.
Absolutely.
Right? And that is the difference between those who are not married and people who just even have girlfriends and married people. Because even if you have a girlfriend, like there's limit to the help, right? There's
Absolutely.
limit. There's, okay, I can drive you here. You gotta figure something out.
I'm even thinking that you are not married. You're putting everything into this thing.
Yes.
What if this leaves?
What if this lady leaves? You better not leave me. You better. You see? So like that. Yeah. But when you're married, it's like the whole thing changes. The whole thing her problem becomes my problem. If I see her sit down and like sigh, like, babe, what is it? What is it? Something? Is it this? Is it that?
Absolutely.
Like you want to be the one to solve it. If I look sad, she comes right at me. Like, what is the problem? What is going on? So thinking about her became like, I didn't even have to think about thinking about her. It just came naturally. The next day when I woke up, I think I woke up, used the bathroom, came back. I was just smiling. Looking at her sleep beside me. It's like, oh wow, really? Now I was thinking, should I make her breakfast? All that thing comes naturally with marriage. And that is why God says whatever is bound on earth is bound in heaven. That has a deeper meaning. Once God bounds it in heaven, you both become one. And you don't even have to think about it or realize it. You feel it.
You feel it.
You already feel like you become one. Like, I can do something to her, and when we used to date, if she said something about it, I'll say something back. And then it becomes like a little, back and forth. Now, we're married. If she says something, hey, why did you do that? Like, oh, did I really do that? Were you hurt by it? I'm sorry. I don't want to feel hurt. Like it becomes like, oh, that's my responsibility. So we have a whole life ahead of us, like you said. We're yet to hit 1 year, then 2 years, then 3 years. Like everything that I have to do, I involve her. Everything she has to do, she involves me.
Yeah.
We actually sat down and planned our 2025 already. And doing that, the feeling about doing it with the person you love, like my wife, and also knowing that maybe sooner or later there will be a kid coming in and we're planning all these things. Trust me, there's no better feeling like that as a man. It's like, right now I can talk like a man. I'm Mr. Southpaw for crying out loud. I can talk like a man, You don't get that feeling when you're not dating. You don't get that feeling when you're single. You don't get that feeling when you're single or when you're just dating. It only happens when you're married. Yeah.
There's something I don't ask people, but on this podcast I'm going to ask you. How many children do you want to have?
Okay, so it's still a tussle between 2 and 3.
Okay.
To you. But both parents believe that you're going to have about 6.
6 children.
Yeah, the thing
His
is,
mom believes I'm going to have about 6. My mom also told me recently that I think you guys are going to have more kids.
We both come from very fertile families. Like, I have a big family, she has a big family.
Yeah.
So the probability of us having a lot of kids is high. It's high. So we might have a lot of kids. Now, what we wish is not what God wishes, right? So me, I wish 2 or 3.
Yes.
Now, who knows? Maybe we might have way more than that.
Yeah.
Maybe we might have that, So
6.
Yeah. And so now that we are talking about children, children comes with joy.
Oh, yeah.
That is one thing that I wanted to say. There is a kind of euphoria, an environment, kind of feeling. You know, when you guys will understand.
Oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait.
You guys think you love one another. Oh my God! When you have children, you understand what love is really is.
That's true, because
there's a different kind of love for children.
Ooh.
And the different love for husband and wife. And there's a different kind of love for your parents.
Right.
And the kind of love that you have for children, you can't explain it. So when I hear people abuse children, or I like, then I always tell my wife that, something is wrong with the person emotionally. Yes. Emotionally, mentally, the person, because to abuse your own child or something, I honestly, I don't really get it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's job. It's a whole lot of job.
Oh man.
You see? Like this one has come down right. I have to bring another. You guys want to have children and all that. How is readiness?
So much joy. And readiness.
Readiness, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Nice.
That's one thing we discussed intently about, because we felt like we have to get ready for a child. We have to make sure everything is right. We have to make sure we're in the right headspace. We have to make sure we're in the right environment where we want to live and everything to have a child. But that God's ways are not our ways. Right? We can think we want to figure everything out and then boom, a child comes in, So we have really spoken into detail what we want to do for our child. Definitely what we're looking for is like having a good school district, having good education for the child. We'll be 100% responsible for the well-being of the child. That is one thing that, looking at how wild the society is with things that are shown on the media, with people that are being...
You got it right.
You
got it right.
Once you put a child in this environment, it's not just about the well-being of the child, but it's also about the mental well-being, not just physical well-being, mental and emotional well-being of the child. We have children nowadays like coming home saying they want to transition, they're not men anymore or girls anymore. And then you ask yourself, if this child can't even remember the breakfast they had, if this child waits for an adult to cross a road with them, how can this same child come to you and talk to you about gender things and stuff like that? It shows you the society we're going. It's crazy. So we want to have a child that would grow in the Lord. We've spoken extensively about that. So it wouldn't just be the physical well-being, it'll be mental, spiritual, and emotional too. We want our child to be healthy. Like your children, when we look at your children, that is motivation for us. Like you've done so well with your children. That is something that we look up to, and yeah, we're ready, but we're not as ready as having the child itself. So we'll see. Yeah.
Finally, I want to talk about, that's the last thing I'll be talking about. We can also talk about the final thing that I want to talk about is investment.
Thank you. Yeah.
Investment. It's one thing that, if you are in Africa, most of us don't know so much about investment.
Right.
Most of us. But in America, at least we are, the environment is kind of give you some room to be able to invest or something like that. But now that you're married, it's very important.
It is.
It's very, very important.
Yeah.
What about that?
Oh, yeah. So we've spoken about investments. We've spoken about savings. We've spoken about stuff. We haven't gone so deep into it because we got married a few months ago. We're making sure things are put in place.
Okay.
You know, where we want to live, all that stuff, talking about stuff. Investment is one thing that is really on our hearts as a couple. Like being a couple that is coming up and having like emergency funds, savings, not just a checking that bills pull through, no, but then having a culture of saving, having a culture of like looking into like life insurance, making sure everything is set to the point that I'm not saying anything is going to happen, but in case something does happen,
Yes.
the unforeseen happens, because this world has a lot of unforeseen circumstances.
Absolutely.
When the unforeseen comes, I know for sure my wife is covered. She's safe. My kids, my future kids are safe. You know, all these things come into play. All these things are things like we're talking about. What do we want to do? Like having multiple streams of income, having passive incomes, you know, not just having one stream of income or stuff like that. All these things are things that we're talking about. Yeah. So with investments, we're very keen on that.
Yeah.
As young people, we only have a few moments. I see it as a few moments to be able to get money before we can't do it anymore. Yeah. So, and also we've spoken about not actually going through avenues where we wouldn't have to work as much, but get a lot of money. Not being lazy though, but like, you know, going through school, education, all that stuff. Yeah. We're also speaking to people that are talking to us about other forms of investment that we've not looked at. Yeah. And there'll be times where we'll go to the banks to talk to them because we have multiple accounts and we want to make good use of them to serve different purposes. You know, it doesn't have to be just like, oh, we get the money, we spend it, and then on to the next. No, but we have to get money, save it, make sure everything is taken care of for right now and even the unforeseen future. So it's something we've really, really discussed.
Yeah. Well, we have a very good conversation.
Yes.
We had a very good conversation, a very long conversation.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you wanted to say? Maybe we've not touched it.
We didn't touch, yeah. So this thing really bothers me. It's more about people that are scared to get married, right? We started with marriage. I mean, this conversation has been about marriage. If you are scared to get married, don't be. If you find somebody you want to get married to, don't look at the trends. Don't pay attention to the trends. Don't pay attention to what is the in thing now. Know that you and your partner can build an empire that will supersede where you are right now.
Absolutely.
Forget about that. Make sure you put your stuff together, talk to your partner and talk to God. If it's 10 people that attend your wedding, remember that the wedding is not marriage. The wedding is just an avenue that will usher you into marriage. Once you're in your marriage, the way you thrive is what matters. Somebody has had a $50,000 wedding, $70,000 wedding, and they're dreading each other right now. They want to get married. They want to get divorced, right? So they paid for their wedding and now they're paying for a divorce. Don't be that. Don't do that. Don't go for loans that you can't pay. Cut your coat according to your size.
That's true.
Know that a wedding is not marriage. You find someone you're going to get married to, just go ahead. And also, one thing I also say is like those who are marrying for convenience, right? So it's like, I've seen somebody who is thriving. I want to finesse my way into marrying them so they can provide for me or use marriage as a promise to them. Remember, if there's something that you wouldn't like to be done to your sister, your relative, you don't do that to another person, right? Because there are a lot of women that have kids that did not want to have kids, that were not supposed to have kids. They followed the promises of a guy that has let them down a road that they can't recover from. Some people are traumatized. Some people are depressed. Some people hate men now, right? Want to go into things that are not of the Lord because of what a guy did to them. If you're a guy, I'll discourage you from doing that. There's no blessing in that. It will come right back at you. Treat every woman as though they're like your sister. If you don't like them, don't lead them on. If you're a woman, you don't like a guy, don't lead him on because he gives you help, because you can get school fees from him and stuff like that. If the guy is not one you want to get married to, be upfront. Tell them, hey, I don't think this will work. If you want to take care of me, I would like to let you know that this is not going to work. So do that at your own will or something like that. And then we're going to thrive. The Ghanaian community and what we've heard is that, oh, Columbus guys are this, Columbus guys are that. And it's not a good reputation. It's simply not a good reputation.
Absolutely.
We can do better as Christians.
Yeah. Esther?
Subscribe.
Yeah. Subscribe to the podcast.
Yeah.
Subscribe to our channel too.
Wow. Yeah, so thank you very much for
Thank
coming.
you too.
Honestly, thank you very much for joining me. I enjoyed it. Honestly, if not because of a podcast, we would have been talking and talking. I mean, even after the podcast, we'll still be talking.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you very much, and listeners and viewers, please subscribe to the channel, as my sister said.
Yeah.
Yes. And thank you very much for watching.
Yeah.
On another podcast. We'll see you again. Bye.
Bye.